The views expressed are solely those of the speaker and not necessarily those of Paltalk.com, AVM Software, or its advertisers.
News Talk is online. News Talk Online is a production of Paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet, with more than 4 million unique users on demand on iTunes and on YouTube, and on my site, GaryBaumgarten.com, where you are encouraged to comment whether you agree with yours truly or not. And thanks to our friends at CRN Digital Talk Radio, we're syndicated into 12 million additional households. I am your host, Gary Baumgarten. Welcome to the show. Today's guest is Mike Gravel, the former U.S. Senator from Alaska. He unsuccessfully sought the Democratic presidential nomination, then waged a failed battle to become the Libertarian Party's candidate. But this guy is not fading out into the sunset. Even though both attempts were unsuccessful, let me tell you what he did do. And for those of you who are joining us here on Paltalk on the internet, this will be near and dear to your hearts. He managed to market his campaign on the internet. It's called viral marketing. It kind of spidered out. Ron Paul, by the way, did the same thing. He picked up a loyal and vocal following. He spoke outside the box during the several presidential debates he was allowed to participate in. I have a real problem with there being a name on the ballot for the presidency of the United States and the people running the debates not allowing some of those individuals to participate. It's my decision who I want to vote for, not theirs. I should be able to hear everybody who's running for office and make up my own mind. But unfortunately, this was a problem. Gravel is now devoting his efforts toward enacting the National Initiative for Democracy, which would empower the people to make laws themselves. A little background you may not know. Mike Gravel was born in Massachusetts to French-Canadian immigrants. He attended French-speaking Catholic schools. And as a teenager, when he wasn't working with his father and brothers in the house, painting, and construction business, he volunteered in local Springfield politics, and that's when he got the bug to become a politician. He enlisted in the Army. He served as a special adjunct in the Communication Intelligence Services and as a special agent in the Counterintelligence Services. He has a BS in economics from Columbia. He has 4 honorary degrees in law and public affairs. Politically, he started his career in the Alaska House of Representatives in the 60s. He was Speaker of the House there, and he represented Alaska in the United States Senate from 1969 to 81. He is perhaps best remembered fondly by some of us, and with a degree of irritation by others, for running a filibuster that ended the draft here in the United States. He was tied into the release of the Pentagon Papers. For those of you who are too young to remember this, that was the secret official study that revealed the lies and manipulations of the White House, misleading this country into the Vietnam War. It may sound a little familiar to some of you who are watching contemporary situations with regard to warfare. After the New York Times published portions of the leaked study, the Nixon administration moved to block any further publication of the information. So what does Mike Gravel do? He did his duty as the representative of the people. He stood on the well in the well of the Senate as a junior senator, and insisting that his constituents had a right to know, read the bulk of the Pentagon Papers, redacting the parts that obviously would not have been good to reveal due to national security. That was resulted in a case that went to the U.S. Supreme Court, and he took it a step further. He published the Pentagon Papers. He has authored a number of other books, including a new one called Citizen Power. And if I don't stop talking about all the things you've done in your long and storied career, Mike Gravel will never hear from you. Mike Gravel, welcome to News Talk Online on Paltalk.com.
Gary, thank you for having me. You're quite right. You really went into the whole thing. We could save time. Next time, just tell them to get a hold of one of our books. You know, there's 3 books out, Gary. One is Citizen Power, and people can get that at www.citizen-power.us. Then there's the Kingmakers, which is an analysis of the failure of the American media leading to the war and the conduct of the elections. And then the third one, which is a political odyssey, and the subtitle being The Rise of American Militarism and One Man's Effort to Stop It, which traces, it's not a memoir, it just traces my public life as I've been fighting the military-industrial complex from the get-go. Let's say from Dwight Eisenhower, because I was not a public figure till after Dwight Eisenhower gave us this unusual warning.
Well, it's necessary because we have people who are young and people who are older and in between, and it's important when we bring somebody of your caliber onto the program that we put it into perspective so people know that you're not just some Johnny-come-lately on the scene who is critical of the way the public was lied to about this war. You were out in front and put yourself on the line, literally, both politically and legally, jeopardizing yourself back during the Vietnam War with the leak of the Pentagon Papers and reading it into the Congressional Record, which what I believe was, and you also conducted what I believe was the longest filibuster by a singular U.S. senator.
That record belongs to Strom Thurmond. I had it all set up to break his record.
Yes.
But because of the rules and my own, I tried to give notice to the staff in the Senate. But no, what I did is, after that, I could not get a quorum back in the Senate. And so then we went to Plan B, which was, I was a freshman at the time. And so I convened the Buildings and Grounds Committee that I'm the chairman of. And so we had a hearing, had a Congressman Dow come in, and this late at night, he had to get dressed and come back in. And he was asking for a federal building, and I said, well, we don't have the money to give you a federal building, and I know you probably need one, but we don't have the money. And, the reason why we don't have the money is because we're squandering it in Southeast Asia. And let me just tell you the reason why we're in Southeast Asia, and then I proceeded to read the Pentagon Papers, which was a study of how we got into Vietnam. And that's how it all started. And but now, it's interesting that in 2002, when George Bush and the neocons were trying to gin up the Iraq War,